sort of leads people into saying heaps of stuff that you wouldn't say face to face.
No one deserves to go through something like that, and it's not fair that people get brought down by others.
Because it's so accessible to everyone. Everyone, or most people, would have at least a cell phone, most likely a computer as well.
Curiosity killed the cat, you want to know what people think about you.
Young adults are getting more and more used to being hated and anonymously talked about and picked on the internet.
I saw cyberbullying pretty much every day on my Facebook feed, on Instagram, on Twitter.
I think the place where we can make the most difference is with young people. As soon as they start turning around and saying, you know what, it's not okay and we don't want it at our school, that's going to be the biggest impact for New Zealand.
Sticks and Stones is all about taking positive action online, being safe, making sure that the stuff that you say is constructive and it's not hurtful to others. We're trying to prevent cyberbullying before it happens rather than pick up the pieces afterwards.
What we found is when we had these people from bigger cities coming to our schools who had big fancy degrees in something, but they weren't connecting with our students about these issues. They didn't understand what life online was actually like for us because it's changing so much all the time.
It's quite hard to find someone to confide in, but with Sticks and Stones you kind of learn that you have to talk to someone, and that's why we're here as well. If they're not comfortable talking to their friends or anyone about this, they can come to us and we can try and help in any way we can.
What Sticks and Stones is doing is it's young people helping other young people, so we can use our experiences to help others. And I think definitely the role model perspective for our younger generation is a really important factor of why we are being so successful, and I think that's why it's so important.
I think it's important to get that perspective from the people who are, at the coalface, who are experiencing the cyberbullying, who know the avenues that it's coming through on and what's being said and what's out there and what's being done about it. I think that the fact that it is youth driven, I think that's probably the biggest positive for it and is going to make the biggest difference.
I think it's so important that young people take responsibility for cyberbullying because it is their life, they are there. It is their world on a daily basis, more so than it is ours, and they have to be confident at challenging their peers when they identify that something is said that's inappropriate and putting a stop to it.
My real focus with Sticks and Stones is more about changing a culture. I remember being in primary school and you look at those senior students in the high school years and you just idolise them and they're just the coolest people and you look at everything they do. And so I guess for me, I wanted to be that role model and I wanted to change that culture. So I think what's so cool about Sticks and Stones being teenage-led is that it's us that's setting the example for others to do the same when they get older.
The fact that some people choose to ignore and just blatantly refuse to acknowledge cyberbullying is also another issue in itself. So if we can raise awareness about the true consequences of cyberbullying and negative action online, then that's why we started up. One of the great things about Sticks and Stones is the fact that every group is different and that the Wanaka group operates slightly differently than the Alexandra group, for example. And that the positive thing about that is that the events that we run are more specific to the communities that we live in. And so it's a lot more effective when we do it as our way, not as just a whole thing for the whole world. It's a lot more specific and genuine.
There's about 50 of us over 5 different schools. So we've got 5 focus groups and they all get together. We get together every 2 weeks and it's run by us. And so we come and we have meetings and we just talk about what's been happening, what's going to be happening, what we need to do, events we need to organise, things that we're running. And I think it works well because the ideas come from us, so they relate better to teens who's our target, because it's not like an adult trying to think what's going to be fun for teens, it's what we know is going to be fun.
Sticks and Stones has been a part of Pink Shirt Day, and I know that in Mount Aspiring College for Pink Shirt Day, Sticks and Stones, all the Sticks and Stones members were wearing pink shirts. We also did a Share a Little Sweetness initiative where people could buy a $2 cupcake for someone else, and this cupcake came with a positive affirmation, and then we would deliver it to those people.
Last year at Blossom Festival we had a Mardi Gras stall for aiming at younger students, just to start bringing them up so they'll be involved and aware of it, and we made some floats and stuff then, which was good fun and good way to get the community involved.
Sticks and Stones last year in 2014 we won the Supreme Central Otago Trust Power Award, which was very exciting and quite a shock. So that then gave us the opportunity to head to Wellington for the national awards. So Emily Bowd and myself were selected, and we had to do an 8-minute presentation up there to every other region in the country and a judging panel.
Sticks and Stones is just a start to make our communities a place where we stand up for each other and call out those that are spreading hate.
Ask them to own their words and their actions.
And recognise the potential of every single text, post or comment.
It starts with us, but there is no telling how far a change could spread. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so we did our presentation and we got second in New Zealand, so we were just amazed, and it's just such a fantastic way to recognise volunteers and what they do in our communities.
As if they're judging as we pass them by, and the city's lights, oh, they burn too bright, and I still feel alone in this dark, and I still feel alone in this dark. Our hands are bloodstained, there's no chance we'll get away.